What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here. Fightful.com podcast. It is July 18th. We have Smackdown to talk about. We have Battleground predictions to make, and we have Talking Smack to talk about. I was supposed to be joined by Anna Bauer. Unfortunately, as we got on the call, had some technical difficulties. She is actually across the country from where she usually is right now. So that posed a few problems. But we have an equally as beautiful co-host in Jeff Hawkins. Jeff, what's up?
Don't oversell this.
Everything's fine.
I hear the sounds of I hear the sounds of clicking. I hear the sounds of clicking off. And where's Anna? No, the hell with this. I don't want to hear it. I know
Everything's fine.
I know who brings the money. I know my place on this show. I'm here for smarts, I think. I don't know.
Well, Anna will be back with us next week, obviously, guys. If you're missing her, go check out Most Ridiculous in the archives. But we got some stuff to talk about. First off, let's address this Talking Smack situation. Because I've been asking around and I've been talking to people, and obviously we heard the report from Sports Illustrated this week, and that's really what got me asking around. Sports Illustrated reported that Vince McMahon made the call to do this, and he did. He absolutely did, contrary to what a lot of people wanted. Now, there were some people that said, well, we're not exactly upset that we get to leave a little bit earlier, but there was a lot of character development on that show, and apparently Triple H was among those that really wanted that show to stick around. Does that surprise you at all, Jeff?
No, and I'll tell you, or that Triple H wanted to, or that Vince wanted it gone. Which one do you want me to answer?
Either.
It does not shock me that Triple H wanted it around because Triple H is a fan of territory wrestling, and that was as close to one of those old studio show interview type of things that they had. I agree with you. There was quite a bit of good character development. Don't get me wrong. There was also some people who were just so afraid to be extemporaneous and were looking just to kind of stick to, their catchphrases and things of that nature. When Daniel Bryan was on the show, kind of trolling characters, it made the people who were on it have to focus on their point of view a lot more, and those are the people who really benefited from it. I'm sad because you'd get certain kernels of truth from time to time out of people, which, in this very, very stilted dialogue type of product that they have right now was always refreshing to me. There'd always be kind of that. There'd be a surprise or two here or there. It was an engaging watch. I think as an artist, I think wrestlers who really want to kind of see how far they can go with something are going to be left out in the cold here, and they're going to feel very frustrated by this. But let me do this. I am going to take the viewpoint of Vince McMahon a little bit here, because I understand exactly why he watched this show and said, I don't want this on anymore. Think of it, and this is where I really was hoping Anna would
being implied that he's drinking vodka on air.
You know what? It's not so much that. It's when you think of like great filmmakers and great auteurs, and especially screenwriter directors who fall in love with their words. There are some people who think of all this as a collaborative process, and there are some people who are just like, no, say the words on the script as I wrote them, as it is, because I have a vision here, and this is my vision. Vince McMahon basically watched this show, and much like in my field of improv, there's a lot of bad improv out there, and it feels like self-referential, self-aggrandizing, pat yourself on the back crap that's going nowhere. He watched this and said, what is the point of this? They're not scripted. They're not getting somewhere. And at worst, they might be hurting what I see these characters becoming. So because I can't control this, and because it just seems to kind of meander as opposed to have a focus to it, I'm going to pull the product so that it doesn't do any damage. I disagree with that vision in many ways, but I can understand him as kind of a creative control freak as he is, and as a guy who thinks of himself as an auteur and as a great writer, from guys I know who have worked in the company and have basically had him tell him, I'm going to show you how to write great television. I can see from his point of view why he would watch this, and especially with Shane hosting, why this was just a meandering mess of a show.
Yeah, and I disagree with that line of thinking that it did go nowhere, because it went somewhere for The Miz. It reinvigorated him to the point to where he was working John Cena at WrestleMania. Like, it helped that guy. It helped. Hey, when Daniel Bryan leaves the WWE, I'm all in. The first people making an offer to Daniel Bryan for a podcast is Fightful.com.
Yeah, no,
and we're going to be one of dozens.
Yeah, it helped.
He's such a.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, it helped a lot of people. I could list off. Let's see. It helped The Miz. It helped Breezango quite a bit. It helped. It really made Alexa Bliss help her focus and help her become the great woman on promos that she is right now. It helped Baron Corbin immensely. It helped John Cena. It helped, there are others that you could. It helped the Rhino quite a bit, because Rhino was hilarious on the times. It helped the Usos and get their heel gimmick over quite a bit. So, I mean, the list is there, and it's helpful there, but I think the problem is also, I don't think Vince regularly watched Talking Smack, so he wouldn't get that full context of who it was helping and who it wasn't. He just watched this one show, thought it was terrible, and said, let's end it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the word that I got, and that there were several people high up that wanted that actually pleaded a little bit of a case, and he was just like, no, I'm not doing it. And ultimately, it takes one guy. There were some that said low viewership. That was not the reason. That absolutely was not the reason, and I was told that by multiple people.
Oh, Mojo. That's who it helped. Mojo. It helped Mojo.
Yeah. So no more Talking Smack. It's unfortunate, because I've never missed an episode of Talking Smack. I've watched every single one of them, and I would watch every single one of them no matter what. Even if this wasn't my job, I would watch those. And you'll have a lot of people, because, every time WWE makes a weird decision, there are always those people who are like, let me cling to the sack. Let me just swing from that nut bag and just worship every decision they make. Jinder Mahal, world champion. Here I am, swinging from the bag. We're 2 months into it. It still doesn't make any sense. But India.
For a network that's looking for compelling live programming to then cancel the one thing that for a lot of people was the most compelling draw to the network. I mean, it was always top 5 or 6 on the network for that. I mean, the only thing that's even comparable in terms of interest for me, because it doesn't go against the party line necessarily, is the occasional Table for 3, where you'll get an interesting conversation or two, or occasional nugget out of there.
Oh, I bet when the when the news of Talking Smack being canceled came out and people were upset about it, there was some nerd who was trying to justify it by saying, but India. That's the ultimate comeback for anything at this point, is but India. It's unfortunate. I think that it will be back eventually. I really do. This Sunday's Battleground Talking Smack ain't looking too hot. Jerry Lawler on it.
Yeah, they're gonna be doing they're gonna be doing Talking Smack still after pay-per-views, kind of like how they do Raw Talk, I guess. So I think the whimsicalness of it and the fun in it, because it was fun when Daniel Bryan was on and he was tweaking guys. Even when you were watching Miz just dress him down, it was still fun in that way. And there's a bit of that lost. Especially, I mean, this feels like your standard WWE pay-per-view go-home show, where, in my opinion, I think all the people who were winning on Sunday lost today.
There was a lot of good wrestling on this show, though. I really enjoyed the in-ring product on this show. So, and that's not something that I've been able to say about Raw or SmackDown lately. Usually it's been the opposite. It's been the angles that I've been particularly fond of, and not the in-ring wrestling. So the opening segment was Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers cutting a promo to explain the Punjabi prison. I mean, this was super lame, but they kind of had to do it.
This is where they needed the video package. They shouldn't be giving.
That would have been better.
Yeah, they should to explain it, because they shouldn't have heels explaining the match, getting the what treatment, and a long exposition-y, here's how this thing goes. I thought Orton's comeback promo was pretty good. I did. I liked that. That gave me. I mean, the problem was JBL going, he has the people of India on his back. I'm like, no, he really doesn't.
Yeah. Did you see in the interview where he said that he had creative control? He spoke to an Indian outlet and said,
"Oh, he's Hogan.
He's
Indian Hogan. Oh, great."
Yeah, that's what he says.
Brother.
He said that he had creative control.
No, he does not.
I seriously doubt that he does. Randy Orton. I was calling Randy Mahal.
Randy Moss.
That would be interesting. You want me to be interested in Randy Orton? Make him reveal him as the brother of Jinder Mahal. Then I'm all about it. Bob Orton on one of those. Did they do WWE trips in India in the 80s?
Oh, no. I want to introduce you to my son. And then I went back later and I had twins.
Jinder Mahal. And then he pulls up his sleeve, reveals a cast, and cracks Randy Orton over the head with it.
Jinder Mahal came out. There's pictures of him as a baby with a cast on it. That's how you know it's his.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Orton cuts a promo and says he has nothing to lose and that Mahal left him for dead. That was a little much. I don't know about left him for dead, but
I think Bray left him for dead. Yeah.
It was a good promo, though.
Yeah. It had some good heat to it. I liked it. Yeah.
That was good stuff. I liked the promo. I liked the delivery. All that went well.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Uso defeated Kofi Kingston. I like this opening match too. You're going to hear me say that I like the wrestling on the show a lot, but this is good. It seemed like these two treated it like it was a little bit of a special match. You could see it in their work. Kofi improved on that flying stomp, and Jimmy landing an Oklahoma Stampede. Tell us about the Oklahoma Stampede.
The Oklahoma Stampede, it was the finishing move of one Steve Dr. Death Williams, which JBL brought up. It's a running power slam, pretty much. I liked the stuff on the break too. There was a lot of good wrestling when they did the split screen again this week, which I wanted to mock Anna and the international viewers for that a little bit and tweak them, but that was really good. My thing is, I really. The crossbody into the rollover finish. What did you think of that?
I've seen better.
Yeah, I kind of want something a little bit more. I mean, if you're going to be saying that the heel stole one from the New Day, so to speak, I want to mind it like grabbing the tights there or something a little bit more to that.
Yeah, that is not stealing one. I just won a match. He just won a match. It was good. It was a nice fit to bridge the gap into the pay-per-view, but I don't think they should rely on stuff like these pointless matches so often.
And Kofi was really good, I thought.
These women division promos are bad. They're all the same. They're all the same, but I will say that the Charlotte-Becky interaction was kind of good, the way they set that up. With Charlotte saying, well, he wants a competitive match, so I can't face Becky. That was okay. Also, I like the idea of everybody fighting over who gets to fight Lana because she's easy pickings.
I liked that part of it. And this was the week where Tamina, poor Tamina, and her prompting was just really, really awkward. It's like she was half a beat late to come in with her line. I didn't care for the Becky Charlotte interplay because it felt it's not something that people who are friends on screen and maybe this is more the social media thing getting to me because they're so tight on social media together. But on screen, they've never really had that kind of tension up until now, and I thought it felt a little forced for the sake of the five-way. But I did like that everybody wanted a shot at Lana. That rings true to me, so I like that.
I missed, because of DirecTV, AJ Styles, Nakamura, and Naomi promos. What happened there?
My DirecTV was a little bit fritzy during the Naomi promo, but the AJ Styles one, Nakamura, they were in the locker room basically going over, how they were boys in Japan. And tonight they're partners, and Nakamura basically points to the U.S. title and basically implies that he wants a shot at it. They go over with Naomi, from what I gathered, because it did skip a bit for me as well, because I too have DirecTV. They were talking about Naomi and who she'd like to face at SummerSlam, and Carmella came in and basically said she may not get that chance because to remind her that she can cash in the briefcase at any time.
Fair. No Ellsworth again?
Nope, no Ellsworth.
Man. It's getting that main roster money to sit at home for do you think they still brought him on the road with them? They probably did.
Oh, yeah. And I think he's getting a monster pop when he comes back.
Yep.
Welcome home, Big Hog. Come back. Yes.
The Fashion Files. The horsey was found ravaged, but not before they found Aiden English warming up. Well, warming up for what? He wasn't on the show. He didn't come out and sing.
He might have been on Main Event or a dark match. You don't know
that would have filmed before.
Oh, this wasn't filmed live.
Good point.
No, the opening was clever by rhyming, Tully and Sully and those other lines. The other in joke I caught this week on the board was the connection between the Boogeyman and Scotty Too Hottie, and it says eaten by the Boogeyman. And what did the Boogeyman used to eat?
Yeah, worms.
Perfect. I liked that. A fun little thing. It sounds like they're going to wrap up this whole skit at Battleground, but I don't know if there's going to be a reveal of wrestlers who did it. I still maintain it's probably going to be a comedic figure such as Michael P.S. Hayes at this point. Since it can't be American Alpha.
We can do American Alpha now, which we will talk about momentarily. Guys, head over to Fightful.com, register for free, use our forums, some current topics that are up there right now. Too many pay-per-views, talking smack, Vince McMahon, bad writing, has brainwashed casual fans. Prediction thread for Battleground where POTUS Ladylove has offered to gift the winner a Fightful t-shirt and also New Japan G1 Climax 27. We have live coverage and discussion of every G1 Climax show that's going to be running, so join us at Fightful.com for that. Myself and Showdown Joe did the Fightful.com Holy Smokes MMA podcast today. We talked to Elias Theodorou. We covered the Mayweather-McGregor press conference, some of the racial implications there, some of the things that went back and forth between them. Previewed UFC Long Island, which is a very underrated card this weekend, and we reviewed UFC Glasgow and talked Ultimate Fighter 26. The UFC instituted a new weight division for their women, 125 pounds, and that title will be determined, or that champion will be determined on that show. So head over to Fightful.com. And, of course, tomorrow, check out The List and your boy. We're going to have Alex Riley and Vince Russo on the show. And then next week, I'm in Toronto. How are you all going to hold up without me on the show next Tuesday night, Jeffrey?
With Alex. Probably.
You all don't realize how much you miss me yet. It's okay.
I know. I will miss you. Trust me, because Alex and I have that long-running feud going, so there could be some heat going on there. But before we move on, no,
you're building to next week. I like it.
Well, remember, I used to have all the jokes against Alex. The 100 duck-size Alexes, or the one Alex-sized duck. What I could take in a fight. If you are suffering from WWE malaise in any way, purchase New Japan World this month, because the G1 is always, for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been watching it, fantastic. Night one in and of itself, that Ibushi Naito match was absolutely fantastic. So I recommend it. If for some reason you're like, man, I'm not getting enough wrestling, or man, I'm not liking this wrestling, go give New Japan a try. It's a lot of fun.
It's a good time. I enjoyed night one. Night two is what, the 20th?
Yes.
Cool. Q. Mike Kanellis defeated Sami Zayn. WWE does this thing where JBL and Byron Saxton like try to argue the babyface and heel points, but all it does is make me hate everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't make me like anybody. It makes me hate everybody, including JBL and Byron Saxton. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
We see an aggressive Sami Zayn, and that fits since Mike Kanellis is the lover and all that, but eventually they're going to establish a mean streak out of him, I would imagine, and do that thing where he kind of does the snap thing.
Yeah, the problem is that this is the type of gimmick that needs prelim matches to work. It needs to give him that credibility against guys who suck so that when they go in with Sami Zayn, he's getting the heat for Maria coming in. Because right now what's going to happen is Maria's going to interfere on every match that he's in, and he's never going to get any credibility as a guy who can actually go in the ring. It's working backwards in a sort of way, and I think it's going to hurt the Mike Kanellis character a lot more. I understand what you're saying with the eventually he's just going to, turn into this vicious monster who beats people up in only the way WWE can. But I think this is something where if you're going to have the woman protecting the man, you need to establish first that the man can actually go, but they're using the woman as a psychological point rather than as real protection. Kind of like Baby Doll and Tully back in the day.
This interference was particularly fucking egregious.
Yes.
Pardon my language.
Why are they not? Why is it not DQ'd? That's.
And I know what people are saying. She never touched him.
Yeah,
come on now. She was inside the ring
and not leaving. Yeah,
not leaving. At the very least, throw the damn match out, or eject her. Separate the guys, eject them, whatever.
Now, I was mistaken about Mike Kanellis' finishing move. I thought it looked like a Falcon Arrow, and they announced it as a Samoan. Who said it was Lash LaRue's old move?
That was ya boy.
Yeah.
Ya boy. The Whiplash, not the Whiplash 2K.
No, okay.
Or the Whiplash 2000 or whatever it was. The Whiplash 2000, he would like get them in a cravat and then do a Russian leg sweep.
Right.
What do you think about that move?
I liked Lash.
Much of an improvement.
I liked Lash LaRue overall as a character on WCW. I thought he was perfectly fine in that kind of mid card, dopey babyface / heel role.
He was a really good mid carder.
Mm-hmm.
That you knew that was his role and that he was never supposed to get past that.
He was a great flake. That's what I enjoyed about him.
He is still only 40 years old.
Jeez, he's younger than I am.
Here's one. S.A. Rios. You know how old he is?
Oh, he's in his late 30s, right? I mean,
38.
Yeah, 38. It's ridiculous. He was like 18 when he was on Papi Chulo or something.
We don't know if that's a real 38 or an Ahmed Johnson 38.
Oh, is that a Cuban 38, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, Ahmed Johnson came out a few years ago, and he's like, nah, I was actually like 5 years older. He's like, how the hell could I have played in the NFL for that long and then start trained and become a wrestler? He's like, how did nobody know? Yeah, it was a little confusing. I was like, damn, this guy kind of just emerged out of, then to me as a kid, emerged out of nowhere. I didn't know he had worked elsewhere, but yeah, the 90s, man. It's weird. Cena is American, and if you doubted it, you found out during this promo. It's a very nice American as hell promo that only John Cena can cut like that. Rusev attacks, applies his finish, grabs his flag. I think they can do better for these two.
I agree. There's something about these Cena type of promos where it's the hard sell, but you don't buy into the emotion of it necessarily. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of that very put upon because you don't feel necessarily the heat of this feud. And me being me, there's something else that was bothering me during this whole time about the patriotism angle. So yeah, I looked it up. Bulgaria is our ally in the North American Treaty Organization or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's a part of NATO. They're not Russians. But I'm guessing that nobody ever informed Vince post 1989 Cold War that these Eastern European nations are now our ally against Russia. So he's basically wanting this to be a feud against Russia without saying Russia. Thus the former Putin visualizations when Lana was with him. Yeah, it's a flag match. It's unlike any other kind of match you've ever seen, though, as John Cena likes to tell us. We're going to be fighting. But America, we're going to see if these colors fight or if they fall. Okay.
We have yet to see free agent John Cena on anything but SmackDown.
That's true. Didn't we see him on Raw that one week?
Was he on Raw one week?
When they announced that he'd be there, was that just a video package? I wasn't sure.
I don't remember him being on Raw.
People in the comments will correct us because that's what.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But also, I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't hear them announcing him as free agent John Cena either.
No, they may be saving that. Yeah, they may be saving that for the SummerSlam build.
Well, if I'm Daniel Bryan in storyline, I'm saying, like hell you are, and who the fuck do we get for Jason Jordan?
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
It's like you better send me Rhino or something.
Just, you know what it does? It makes those on-air managers look incompetent in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. I got somebody in my inbox asking if I've heard that Lesnar is going back to UFC for November in MSG. And that's going to happen. Not going to happen. He can't even... He would have to spend another 4 months in the USADA testing pool.
USADA, yeah.
So that ain't happening because he's got to declare that he's unretired and go through testing for that. So that's not happening. Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte. This was really good. Charlotte wrestles a little too much like a heel for me to get past. I wonder where she got that from, Jeff.
What? You think genetics may have something to do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the second half of this match a lot more than the first. The first felt a little clunky to me, but when they started really hitting their groove after once they hit the commercial, and you know that as you pointed out, the modified widow's peak that Charlotte did, then they
love
really
that during the commercial. That was really good.
Yeah, then they started to really hit their groove, I thought. But that first part of the match, it felt like they had all these things planned out and they couldn't quite connect with each other. And I think that may be just a bit of rust from not going against each other as often as they used to. But the second half of this, I mean, that missed moonsault. Charlotte has the prettiest moonsault possibly ever, I think, just because of her length and how graceful she is in getting that over. But I really liked the armbar spot where she kept trying to roll out of it and Becky kept holding on to it. I really think that's up there with, I mean, if this had been on a pay-per-view, we'd be remembering that spot up there with when Bayley had the bank statement on Sasha in Brooklyn and rolled over and held on to it. I mean, that was a really great spot and a really great finish. And I kind of like
spot. And the knee drop to the back.
Oh yeah,
the knee drop to the back or Becky's head when she was on all fours. That's a lot more difficult to execute than anybody would think. That looked really good. Not that Naomi would remember because she was watching the show fucking sideways backstage.
Oh, I did like Charlotte having that kind of nasty heel look after the match, though. Like she's kind of pretending to be friends. And I think they're gonna tease the heel turn, but they're not gonna pull the trigger on it. And I still don't think she's gonna be the one to turn. I think Becky will eventually turn. But I really liked that aspect of it prior to Tamina's music hitting and then the beatdown. I really liked that part of it.
I thought for sure Tamina was done in the WWE. After her last injury.
Yeah.
Thought she was done. Only to, as I mentioned in previous weeks, to hear her music more during this run than we have ever combined in the years leading up. Could you say this is maybe the biggest sustained push or the most sustained relevance she's had outside of being somebody's bodyguard?
Well, she basically is somebody's bodyguard in this role. I mean, she's basically Lana's bodyguard here. I mean, this is kind of the same thing she was doing with Team Bad, but I liked her in Team Bad a little bit more because of the interplay between the three of them, and she was sneaky funny during some of those things. This one, they're using her the right way, though. They're using her to help someone that they see potential in for some reason to get over.
They made a point during this match to ask Natalya, what's up with Becky, or what's up with Lana and Tamina? What do you think is up with Tamina and Lana?
Oh, what do I think?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, because you were going to answer your own question there. It's like, well, they asked her what she thought. Oh, you want me to answer? I think, you know what? I think during the 5-way, I think Tamina super kicks Lana. I do. I think her basically protecting her up until the actual match could be seen as sort of subtext in some way. I think there's a possibility of that, or there's a possibility they just continue that she's the bodyguard teaching her the ropes of being a female superstar in the WWE. It's one of those two.
I just want to say WWE missed the boat for SummerSlam doing like Natalya, Tamina, Lana against Naomi, Allison Brie, Karma.
Yeah.
Probably should have done that. So much of Becky Lynch's offense seems like it hurts her more than her opponent. Maybe that's, I don't know, but it's a lot of those like one-legged drop kicks and like a lot of the stuff she does, which are looking better, but still. There was a natural selection to a disarmer to a big boot that I thought was just money. Becky gets a submission. This match was worth the watch. Tamina really clubbed Natalya with a stiff kick.
I wasn't sure if she got her, and then it looked like she got her. I was like, "Ooh, okay." Yeah.
It was nice. Good match. Really enjoyed that. Corbin tries to attack Nakamura during his entrance, but he ain't slick enough. And then Kevin Owens comes out to help him jump him. This was a creative way to cut a couple of entrances, which they had to do because, as we saw by the end of this match, USA was counting them down. USA was like, the new episode of Shooter on in 11 seconds.
Yeah, we're not preempting Ryan Philippe. Come on, I mean,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
But this is a fun tag. This is a fun tag match. I thought
this might have been the most Nakamura we've seen out of Nakamura on a SmackDown show yet. He like Baron Corbin brought it out of him, like some of those stiff knees and the kicks and stuff like that. That makes me pretty optimistic for Sunday.
Yeah, and you know, maybe Corbin's telling him to lay in a little bit to make it a little bit better, because I know Corbin's that kind of guy that likes to get hit. I mean, that's just obvious to me. So maybe he's saying, yeah, let's stop this playfulness and lay into me a little bit. And I thought, yeah, I really good stuff from everybody here.
Corbin stops Styles mid slingshot with a nice punch. Really enjoyed that spot. An awesome ending sequence gets the win for the heels. Like I said, virtually everything in ring I enjoyed to some degree tonight. I would love to see these two teams lock up again too. Like this was fun, even though I knew it didn't mean a damn thing. I enjoyed the in-ring, and that's something that's been missing for me of late outside of pay-per-view.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a strong, healthy tag team division.
It sure would be. Do you think we add a team Sunday due to this Fandango Tyler Breeze thing, or do you think it's going to be like Hype Bros or somebody like that? You mentioned maybe PSAs.
Yeah, I don't think it ends in a tag team. You know what? It's weird because
at this point, I'm taking Jimmy Jam Garvin and PSAs.
I'll take Jimmy Jam getting a payday. I like him. You know, maybe have Precious on there spraying the air freshener.
I want him cutting the promo though. I don't want PSA's cutting the promo at this stage because he's a glory hog. I want Jimmy Jam cutting the promo because I miss him.
I'm thinking in terms of adding a team. I think down the road eventually it's going to be Sammy and Gable. I think they're going to eventually team those two.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a Shelton Benjamin guy who's perhaps floating around out there too.
I'll take that. Give me him. I like him a lot too.
WDB Battleground this Sunday. Myself and Alex will be here for a post-show podcast. Also, I'm doing a post-show for UFC on Fox Saturday night, so tune into that as well. We got Battleground picks right now. 8 matches scheduled technically, kind of. Oh, 7 technically, 1 kind of. Breezango versus TBA, perhaps. Are Breezango gonna beat these guys, or are we gonna just find out in a backstage segment who these people are?
It's the Hype Bros. I think they beat them, but I don't think it's gonna be a team. That's interesting because they haven't announced what the pre-show match is, so that would be the obvious choice, wouldn't it? Putting Breezango on the pre-show.
It would be. Also, guys, go to Anna's Twitter. You'll see a link to her Glow 1987 video. It is very cool. I want you all to check that out. That was very good. I really enjoyed it. I've often said Anna's acting got her this job, and it's funny because she told me that this job got her an acting gig too, because she wanted to do transcript work, and I looked her up, as I say, to make sure she wasn't like a Nazi, and found some really great stuff, and that is no exception. Go over to @AnnaBauert on Twitter and check that out too. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens United States Championship. I get the feeling AJ is going to win this because I don't think they want to carry on with that many anti-American gimmicks.
I think it's that. There's this nagging part of me that thinks they took the belt off of Kevin Owens, not just because it was MSG, but because of part of this whole Vince trying to get his house in order and shake things up, and he views AJ as more of a championship-looking guy than Kevin Owens. I think my cynicism there is kind of nagging at me a bit. I'm not fully on board with that theory, but I think it could be part of it. But I do think AJ Styles retains here. I
do too. Nakamura versus Corbin. It's a guy that's been very protected in Nakamura against the guy with the Money in the Bank briefcase and Corbin. Now, in the past, they've beaten down the guy with the Money in the Bank briefcase because they see him as a guy they can just throw out there any day and he's a made man. Will that be the case with Corbin, and will that play into the decision or the victor on Sunday?
I don't think so, but I don't think they're beating him down per se, but I think they're going to keep building Nakamura up. It won't be one-sided. It'll be one of those things where it's a 50-50 match until Nakamura hits the finisher, I think. But I think they're building up to AJ and Nakamura eventually down the road, possibly at SummerSlam. So I'm going with Nakamura here.
I am too. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Tamina, and Lana. Interested to hear your pick here.
Up until I talked about that whole post-match sequence, I was picking Charlotte here because she had the loss and because it seems like the obvious build to do for Naomi so that Carmella could come in and steal. But there's a part of me just thinking that somehow Lana steals the win here in the 5-way.
Yeah, part of me thinks it's Lana or Tamina, and I don't want it to be Tamina, and then it leads to maybe Becky and Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm thinking they may just actually make Charlotte Naomi at SummerSlam, and then Carmella cashes in. But I'll say Charlotte just to be different, but I would not be shocked if Lana takes the win here.
John Cena versus Rusev. Ain't no way John Cena's losing this.
I think you're right.
He ain't never losing.
I paused for a moment to try and think of possibilities where Rusev may win, but no, not with a patriotism angle and Vince being Vince. No, we're going to get, he's flying Old Glory high. Yeah, we're going to get the picture in the moment. So yeah.
Apparently announced was Ty Dillinger and Aiden English. Did I miss that?
I missed it, but
well, Ty Dillinger's winning it if it's happening. Ty Dillinger's winning that if it's. Yeah, it actually has been added, and it was announced today. So there we go. Alex Pulowski, better get that article up, buddy. Usos versus New Day, SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Who you got?
I think the New Day takes it here, and they go into SummerSlam as tag champs. I think it's time to put it back on the New Day, and I also think there may be some residual heat from that rap battle on the Usos. There's part of me thinking that, so I think you get a multi-tag schmaz for the SmackDown Tag Championships, but I think they want the New Day to go in as champs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would agree with that. And it's a shame because that rap battle was great stuff.
Mm-mm.
It was outstanding stuff. And it's a bummer. It's like, man, they took Talking Smack, and if they do have residual heat from that, that's a bummer. Yeah. Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton, Punjabi Prison. I'm going with Jinder Mahal.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. I think he retains the title.
I was thinking it's time to end the Jinder experiment and that they'll want to build to a bigger match at SummerSlam with Randy Orton.
God, I wish.
That's my Booker cap on, but at the same time, if they're going to switch that title, they won't switch the tag titles probably on the same show. But I'm going to stick with it. I think it's time to pull the plug on the Jinder experiment. I don't think it's working.
Guys, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, all that. It really helps. Now, one thing I kind of skipped over because I wanted to wait until the end to talk about this. Chad Gable was interviewed by Renee Young. He said he could tell something was off with Jason Jordan. How? I don't know, because based on WWE programming, they weren't together for like months. But they were outside of that one introduction. But he said, we are a tag team. I could tell something was off. And he said, I understand. It seems like an amicable split. So with the Jason Jordan thing, you think they're starting off as a babyface here?
You mean Gable?
With Jordan. And I mean Gable, it's gonna be hard to make Gable a heel.
Yeah, and
like Gable could have been tearing up that horsey and all that stuff on his own, and he's still probably gonna be babyface. He has babyface written all over him.
Yeah. And I think Jordan being aligned with Angle for now is going to be a babyface. I think he eventually turns. And I think he has to have a heel run before he becomes actually popular on his own. The thing I took out of that Renee Gable segment, though, is they both have this perpetual look of, can you effing believe we have to talk about this seriously? They both have that knowing smirk on their face in some ways that they're trying to hide, that they can't believe that they actually have to sit down and discuss this as if it's real. That's, I think Gable, I mean, I'm shocked that they haven't tried to move, that if they don't move him to 205 to be the guy to take Neville out. I think that may be inappropriate, but he's already faced heavyweight, so you never know. But as for the Jordan angle, look, I admit freely that wrestling has a long history of bringing in new guys and making them family members, but that's to get over, say, like how a crowd should be reacting to them in terms of their in-ring style. Like they brought in Marty Lundy to be Arn Anderson. They brought in Lance Von Erich so that girls would cheer for and continue the family name there. I'm not so certain that putting Jordan with the quote-unquote non-player character general manager is going to help Jason Jordan any here.
I mean, as I mentioned, before Chad Gable, he really struggled to find his footing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was even the storyline, is that he couldn't find his footing, and this tag team partner was almost like a last-ditch effort. And it really was, because they tried and tried and tried to make it work. Fortunately, he's still a very young dude.
Yeah, this feels like a backstage promo / skit type of move rather than this is how we're going to get him over in front of the crowd as a wrestler type move, if you know what I'm saying here. There's that disconnect here that Jordan doesn't have the personality quite yet to make to then go that next level. It's very... You remember when they were pushing Curtis Axel very hard in that program with Triple H?
Sure do.
it feels a lot like Axel in that role.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Where do you think Gable goes on SmackDown?
Beating guys like Aiden English for a while. And then they'll figure out something, or they'll put him in a tag.
I guess in that situation, I'll ask you, where do you think Ty Dillinger goes here on SmackDown since Chad Gable's going to take his place?
I could see him in a feud with Corbin after the Nakamura match, just to give Corbin back his heat.
Maybe he can team with Dillinger and they can be Can-Am Alpha or something like that.
Oh, the Can-Am connection? Yeah, sure.
It's a unique situation we got going on here, and they just split two of their top tag team babyface acts with no apparent plan to replace them.
Yeah.
And really, when you go to number 2 on the depth chart of babyface teams on Raw and SmackDown, you're looking at comedy acts.
But it's also consistent with Vince McMahon's feelings on tag teams and that they don't draw money.
Which is a shame, because they had a real like a great tag team division can really prop up your undercard. And
from 1986 to like 1989, they had a great tag division, and it just one that could actually headline cards in places with British Bulldogs, Demolition, the Brainbusters, the Hart Foundation.
Dude, look at the really 1999 through 2002, they were able to take that and not only get a bunch of guys over in like having the APA and having Edge and Christian, Too Cool, the Dudleys, the Hardys, all those guys, but they could throw in Kane and the Undertaker. Yeah, they could team Rock and Mankind. They could team Steve Austin and somebody else, and they wouldn't miss a beat. And if Edge and Christian beat The Rock and Mankind, it wasn't like the craziest thing that ever happened because they were so strong as a team and as a division. It would help them, but man, it's a sad situation. It's because it can be really good. It can be special. It can be an attraction.
What it does? It much like women's wrestling, especially now that they are so highly skill level, it could diversify the card if you allowed them to wrestle different styles as well, because there's a style of tag team wrestling that is far different than just the way they do it, which is basically 2 single guys together doing their single guy moves for the most part. You could really have a well-rounded type of product here if you chose to. But we can't compare things to the ideal necessarily. And therein is where I temper my criticisms in some way, because look, it's not going to happen until he thinks it should happen.
Yep, and that's a bummer to me, because where the women are a good thing to prop up your undercard as well, and at times have been hot enough to be the main event.
Yes. I
think tag team wrestling can be as well, especially because tag teams can go a longer way in being entertaining outside of the ring because you have somebody to play off of. You're not just sitting there solo in the ring, like I say so often, unprompted, whining about whatever you're pissed off about. You have someone to play off of, regardless of emotion. Yeah, you have that. You have someone to bounce off of, and I think that's got to happen. Jeff, anything else to add before we go?
Here's where I plug Shake Them Ropes this week, where we'll be also previewing Battleground. Going over Glow episode 3, and among other stories, we'll be going over, the cancellation of Talking Smack, the rumors about the Mae Young Classic, and the television executives' feelings about that, and more. And that we'll record it. I'm recording it right after this show, and you can follow the show at Shake Them Ropes. You can follow me at CrapGame13. Hi, Anna.
Guys, visit Fightful.com. We are adding even more visual changes upcoming soon to make the site look better, work better, all that fun stuff. Use those forums. I love it when you all contact us, stay in touch with us on there. And, of course, join us this weekend for UFC on Fox coverage and WWE Battleground coverage. Till next time, guys, we're out.